are not fools. Do you know that already? Number 1, is your email address sensible and nerdy and mature? Is it? Worst case scenario, Catholic girls' school in New York City. Student has an email address which she wrote down in front of me 3 separate times. Pink dominatrix. Would this distract from the seriousness of her application? Please have a serious email address. Do you answer your email? Every day? Admirable. If you put an email address on a college application, you may expect to hear from those colleges. So be sure you check it periodically. And perfect, every day is perfect to check your email. The other thing is, your Facebook is out there for the world to see. Even my daughter, who finally friended me after she friended her grandparents, said, "You can see everything in my Facebook?" I said, "Everything. And why are you using that unpleasant language when you describe your dance group?" Please remember, anything you write is out there for the world to see. So please be careful. Your picture also should be very serious. Strike a serious pose for us. Love Facebook picture. He is looking serious. He is looking forward to college. He's ready. So you know not to be foolish about all these things. Also, I'm very fascinated by one college that actually follows people's Twitter tags. So if you say, "I hated that college," so colleges follow it back and say, "Ooh, this person said really nasty things about our college on Twitter." I thought, "Oh, that's amazing. That's a technological advance I hadn't even considered." So be careful what you say out there. Good? Are you already being careful? Yeah, good. All right. Show us your work. Can you read to me what's on it? Did you read it first?
Extracurricular activity.
A little louder, a little more.
Extracurricular activity.
Beautiful.
Interview. Essay.
Again.
Essay. Transcript.
One more time.
Transcript. Guidance counselor recommendation.
And you call yours a college counselor, right? College counselor. Who's your college counselor?
Mrs. Mentor.
Thank you, Mrs. Netto. It says,
Teacher recommendations.
yeah, what does it say?
Teacher recommendations.
Love it. Stand by the flag. Sorry. Can you do it? It's long.
SATs, SAT 2s,
Yeah, that's good.
or ACT.
And so you are Mr. Standardized Test. While I sing the Jeopardy song, you will get in the correct order of what is most important in the application to what is least important in the application. I am at the most important side. Please arrange yourselves. He says we're seeing extracurriculars, but if he says it one more time, I'm going to have to trade him in for this one. Extracurriculars are down there. We'll get to those. What do I see on your transcript? Grades. Grades. Are grades important? He says, yes, ma'am. Grades are important. How many classes should you be taking? At least 5 classes, 5 major classes. English, history, math, science, and foreign language. For those of you who were in the session earlier this morning with me, you know I'm a former French teacher. All students should be taking French. Each of us comes with our own prejudices. That is why I love French. Okay, 5 classes. Grades. We're also going to see the quality of the courses that you're taking. Are you dipping into honors classes? Are you able to take APs? Should a student take every advanced placement course offered at Avon Old Farm School? Why not? Too stressful. And what are you going to lose? You're going to lose good grades and sleep. You're going to lose sleep, aren't you? And then what's going to happen? Grades are going to go down, and then you're going to get sick, and then it's going to be a mess. So you should take just the right number of courses, and it's amazing. I've been shocked to discover that my children's high school teachers know exactly what they should be taking. And if I ask them, they say, he's good for that class. So that is another source of information to you. Good? So 5 major classes. Now, I've gotten in terrible trouble here at Avon Old Farm School. I'd like to just, before we start, say that ESPN is a very nice company. Lots of good channels, okay? Good. What is your favorite TV show that you watch?
Sports Center.
Sports Center. Now, how many sports centers might you be watching in a day?
An hour and a half.
1 hour and a half. Is that 3 sports centers?
It's 1.5.
1 and a half. And how did the top 10 change during that time? They don't change during that time in the day. Okay, just checking on that one. Because sometimes in my house, a 17-year-old boy actually tells me that the top 10 are changing. He thinks, again, I am not with it. So here we go. You could spend an extra hour studying by giving up 1/3 of your Sports Center watching. Is that giving up Sports Center? No, again, ESPN is great. 1/3 of your Sports Center. If you studied an extra 20 minutes to 30 minutes a day, what would happen to you?
Probably better in school.
You might do better in school and you might be smarter. What do you think?
Probably true.
Stand up straight. Are you ready to do it? Go for it. Thank you, transcript. Hi. Do you like standardized tests? Does anyone in this room like them? Somebody does. Are SATs, ACTs, or SAT2s a reflection of your character? Not at all. Let's say that again. Are they a reflection of your character? Not at all. What happens if somebody introduces themselves to me during an interview and says, I would like to tell you my SAT scores. What do I know? They think they're high, and maybe their grades are low. Right? How should you prepare for your SATs? He says summer course. That's a good option. What else? Tutor. They're both helping here. Tutor. SAT book. Good night's sleep. Breakfast. Protein, as you, whatever you think is appropriate. Snack. Calculator. Number 2 pencils. You got it down? All right. When you prepare for your SATs, what you're actually preparing is to take those tests in the time allotted. Set use your phone for this, your phone to the time allotted to take the practice tests. Can you fit your work into that time? Can you get every question done? When should you guess? You should be familiar with all of those possibilities. You should know what you need to do for each section. Now, you should, of course, read books every day. Do you do that? You know, he seemed really good just a moment ago. So good. What can you read that will help you to enhance your SAT vocabulary? Absolutely anything. You could even read Sports Illustrated magazine, which is written on a high level. Time magazine is not written on a high level. You could read Foreign Affairs. No, I guess not. Okay. So you could read Sports Illustrated. You could read lots of things that will enhance your vocabulary. You could do what my son does and get a box of vocabulary words and quiz your parents. We know a lot of words, but he at home is learning them, right? Can you do all those things? Good. How about for your math? How do you practice? You practice. You just had that opportunity to preview a class in the summer. That could be kind of an SAT prep too. You could practice by doing the problems in a word book. Practicing the math section has the most impact in your improvement in your math testing, and reading has the greatest impact in your improvement in your verbal. So you want to put your best foot forward by having a good practice, by getting a good night's sleep, and by practicing. Should you give up a sport to study for your SATs? No. Should you give up community service activities to study for your SATs? How could you find the time for it? Give up watching TV, but not ESPN. You're going to watch TV. Down you go. Down you go. Down you go. There's someone who comes in front of you. Who is your college counselor? You are going to have to really apologize to her after this, huh? Do you meet with her?
I've met with her once.
Once, that's good, that's a start. How many times are you going to need to meet with her to share your interests and concerns and plans?
More than once.
More than once, excellent. You are going to need to tell her about what you've done well in, about what have been challenges, about what you do in the summer, about your activities, about your future dreams, and your plans, so she can integrate this into a wonderful letter for you. Her job, or that of Mr. Roller or Mr. Crocker, is to tell your whole story. How will they know your whole story?
I tell them.
You tell them this is a good time to share. They're not going to put in the gritty part about how your room's kind of messy. Are you alive on messy rooms here? Oh, okay, forget that. So about how your room's messy, or your mom says you don't empty the dishwasher. It's nothing like that. It's about the best parts and qualities of your life. So bring that forward. You're not committing to a life plan. You're just sharing what you're thinking about. Also, what a wonderful resource to talk to them about what colleges you like that you've seen, because they're going to be like Amazon.com. If you like this book, you'll like these 3 books. They're going to say, if you like this college, you'll like these 3 colleges. It gives you a chance to broaden your search, to use their talents and experience to your best advantage. Now, after they write you a nice letter, what should you do?
Say thank you.
How about a nice basket of fruit at the holidays? Say thank you, and be sure that you have communicated as much as you can about yourself. Are we used to telling about ourselves?
I guess.
Do we tell our roommates or our friends, oh my gosh, I'm so fantastic, let me tell you about it? You've got to remember that in the college process, modesty and humility are not terrific qualities. You have to lead with what's great about you. And in that room with your college counselor, what a great place to do that, right? Who can encourage you in saying good things about yourself?
Family members.
Like maybe your mom or your dad? And they say, oh, but these are great qualities that you have, and bring that forward. Good? Thank you very much. Here you are. All right, I have a very difficult question for you. Union College requires 1 teacher recommendation with the common application. How many should you send?
1.
Wrong. So it's not going to be 1, and it's certainly not going to be 0. So which way shall we go?
Higher, like 2.
Like 2. 2 works. Now, if you were going to send 2 teacher recommendations, what subject areas would you pick from?
Well, English and like science and math.
English, science, and math. And what happened to the French?
Drop that sophomore year.
idea, which is that you want someone to write from the English history side and someone to write from the math science side. What if you are terrible in one of those sides? What should you do?
Yeah, the teacher that, like from sophomore year.
Possible. We'd rather hear from a junior year teacher, but possible. Or you could lead with your strengths. That might be English and history. And leave that the math or the science one out. How about that? You could do that too. But if you have balanced learning, if you've done well on both sides, go with what your strengths are in terms of the teacher record. When do you ask your teachers to write for you?
Now.
Now. Do you think now is a tiny bit early? No, they don't think so. All right, I would have said the end of the junior year, but we're getting there, aren't we? So you're going to say, I have enjoyed my class with you so much. Remember, please flatter your teachers. Remember that, Chris? I have enjoyed, Mr. Roller, my economics class has been wonderful this year. I have learned so much about the economy and the fiscal cliff that I am ready to go on and study economics in college. Would you write my teacher recommendation letter? And then the teacher has to have the privilege of saying yes or no.
No.
But probably they're going to say yes, unless you've had a terrible problem with them, right?
Yeah.
So then they're going to share it with the college office, and the college office is going to Zoom it by electronic mail to the colleges, so that's going to go that way. Now, we've talked about one teacher recommendation, two teacher recommendations. If two is good, are three better?
Yes. No, because then it's smothered.
He got it completely right. Smothering. And it's not even your mother. So here it is. We love to hear from your teachers, but at a certain point, the teachers are going to say the same things about you, and you're just asking for too much time to be spent to send the application to us. Now, the sad news is, how much time do I have to spend on your application?
20 minutes.
20 minutes is a very good, accurate assessment. I'm going to be looking at his folder for 20 minutes, and I want to look, even though they're a little further down, at this stuff, just as Drew told you, more than I want to read 3, 4, 5 teacher recommendations. Good? Good. All right. Now, how about an extra recommendation? Do you have anybody who should write you an extra recommendation? For example, would President Obama write you an extra recommendation?
That'd be great, but
Coach, great. Although the coach should probably write to the coach because I know nothing about sports. That has to be put out there. Number 2, maybe you have a summer employer. Maybe you have, you trained for a confirmation, or you've done something with a religious group. You'd like to have a rabbi, a priest, a imam write for you. That would be okay. Good. Any of those. Should your mom's friend who went to Union College write for you?
yes.
Not if he starts the letter by saying that he's never met you. Right? He has to meet you. Good. All right, so how many teacher recommendations?
2.
2. I love that. And when are you going to ask them?
Now.
Now. And how are you going to thank them?
A fruit basket.
Love. I'll tell you the truth. You know, I have had my experience with this, and I went with small Lake Champlain chocolates. They're just mentioned. Here we go. What you got?
That's it?
Who should write your college essay?
Me?
You should write it. Round of applause. Who will want to write your college essay? Your mom will want to write it. It is unfortunately true, Mom. I don't know where you are, but I know you want to do it. Because you're a grown-up and you're a better writer. You have been a writer for more years. My father was a professional writer. Was that helpful to me?
Yes.
No. He took my essays and he wrote all over them in red ink, so politically incorrect, and he would put long sentence fragments in that were his composition, and I was a sassy teenager, can you imagine? And I said to him, don't you think they'll know your word choice is different from my word choice? And he said, my word choice is better. And you know what? He was right. But it's not the word choice of a high school senior who's writing from her heart to go to college. So, who should write your essay? How many drafts should you write of your essay? As many as you need. That's going to be a couple of years. So how many are you going to actually do? Give us a number. 2 rough drafts and 1 final. I think that's excellent. 2 rough drafts and 1 final. Sometimes people write 2 different essays because they have 2 different ideas. So that you might want to do the same thing with each of them. You don't need to send us both essays, but you might choose one that you like better than the other as you get closer in the process. Who should be the topic of your essay? You should be the topic of your essay. I am a very interesting topic, but you are a better choice. Now, you're writing about yourself. Should you write about something positive or something negative? Whatever gets the point across. Do you want me to think well of you, or do you want me to be suspicious? Think well, so you're going to write about something positive. Example, a student wrote an essay once. I pushed another student down the stairs, but I'm very sorry about it. That is a sad little piece. I mean, I'm glad you're sorry, right? Doesn't work, does it? All right, so you got to think about that big picture. Should you tell me every detail of your entire life since you were 5 years old? Does your mother want you to do that? Yes, she does. Absolutely, she does. I had a mother one time bring in the book, The Scrapbook, from her whole life. But I loved the mother. It was beautiful. All right, so here's what you're going to do. You're going to write about one great thing about yourself. You're going to give us good examples. Now you can write a little longer than the students who are currently seniors. You could write a few more words. You're going to have 3 drafts or 2 rough drafts and 1 final. I love all of that. That's all very good. Now, let me just quickly tell you about my daughter's college essay. She's a good writer. She's a better writer than I am. She wrote her college essay. Do you think that I asked her to read it? Yeah. No, not in words. No, I didn't ask her. But she emailed it to me. And I was here in Hartford, where I often am, and I was in the hotel, and I opened it, and I said, awesome, I get to read my daughter's college essay, and it was beautiful because it included concrete details that brought me right into the story. She was like an imaginary cowgirl out on the range. It was about her favorite word, which is infamous. She was, probably in a posse running from the law. It was exciting. But there was one word in her essay that I would have changed. She described a cupboard that had been in my office, which she kept paper in, where she popped out of it when she was a little girl, and she called this cupboard a commode. Yes. My grandmother never said the word toilet at any time in her 89 years. She referred to a toilet only as a commode. So I wrote back to my daughter, darling, this is the most fantastic essay. I completely love it. I would change one word. Commode can be connoted. This is where I like to put an SAT word in my texts and emails, connoted, to mean toilet. If I could have been killed by email, I would be dead today. She responded, you are completely wrong, you know nothing. And what do I have to do in that situation? Accept it, because apparently I do know nothing. I find parenthood teaches some humility. She took it to the entire English department in Niskayuna High School. The mayor of Niskayuna, New York, read her essay. The entire town was engaged in this process, and what do you think happened? I had no idea, because I had to let that go. And so 2 years later, someone at a session like this said, well, what did she finally do? And I said, I don't know, but she did go to college. And so I texted her, which is how do your parents text you? Yeah, do they sign their texts? Yeah, I hear that's very bad from my son. So I'm writing to my daughter, I say, honey, do you remember, did you leave the word commode in? She said, gosh, Mom, I don't remember. Again, how important was this? She went to college. So she went back and checked in her record, and she had the word in, and she still went to college. Was everything okay? Totally. Here you are. Some people wanted you to be first. I mean, transcript wanted you to be first. Extracurricular means everything outside the classroom, outside the walls of the classroom. So you are going to tell me your #1 favorite extracurricular activity. Community service. What have I learned? You are a nice guy. That's all Excellent. When are you doing it?
In March, going to West Virginia.
For a week?
Yes.
So you're spending a week full-time, and you're going to be building a house, right? Is that good? Is that much more interesting than community service? We are always looking for, we have to do this because we have our vice chair of a board union is the IBM vice president. T-shaped individuals. This is the demonstration of them. Breadth and depth. We are looking for you to have activities that have gone on for a while and for which you have investment and interest. Is his activity very good? Very good. Now, someone in an earlier session said, is community service important? He says yes. Why? Shows that you're involved and that you give back. All right, give me another activity. Special Olympics. Already, I think I love you. So he's building homes. He's working in Special Olympics. What do I know about him from his activities? He's a kind, giving, committed person. Give me specifics. Who are you helping in Special Olympics?
I help them play basketball.
Basketball. So now I'm on the basketball court. How often do you do this?
It's once a week.
Once a week. So we have breadth and depth. We have that involved. What are other activities that give you that can be in the long term? Clubs. How long can you be involved in clubs here at OAFA? 4 years. If you join a lot of clubs in your senior fall, do you think I might notice? All right, there's one club we have to explain. What is that club, Mr. Crocker?
It's the Nimrod Club.
The Nimrod Club. What is the Nimrod Club?
It's like the oldest club on campus.
The oldest club on campus. And what do they do? Cut brush and sit in the woods? Yes, apparently that's it. Yes?
Yeah, they do lots of
They carry logs as well. Still, I'm as with many clubs, Habitat for Humanity, like that I know. But a club like Nimrod, I think you should explain, perhaps justify, that your purpose in being in the Nimrod Club is to get up early on Sunday mornings. That gives you a full day of activities and opportunity. You get fresh air. I have no idea how you would justify the Nimrod Club. Good luck with that. But if it's something that we're not familiar with, you want to explain it to us. So I read Nimrod Club, what do I know? Nimrod, avenger in the Old Testament. Did you know that? You can quote that with your little thing. Okay. All right, so how many activities should you have? He says 2 or 3. Any other ideas? They have 8 spaces on the common application. Do you need to fill every 8 space? No. 2 or 3, if they're deep and good, that's great. Don't leave stuff off. Who can help you remember stuff you might have forgotten? I think Mrs. Nedwick might have addressed this. Your mom can help you remember stuff you have done, right? Maybe in the 9th grade. Do you need to include every activity you ever did for only 1 hour? Do you need to include a 10-page resume? No. No. All good. So, are you happy with your extracurricular activities? Thank you. Here you are. Were you always down here?
I was.
Sort of lonely, huh? Why is the interview at the end?
It's kind of do a last taste at a college, get to know the applicant.
Nice way of putting it, the last taste. But you know, in a job interview situation, how important is that relative to you getting a job?
Pretty important.
Pretty important. Pretty important. Much more important than it is in the college process. I believe that Drew Carter has put a nice point on this topic. What were the 3 things we're supposed to remember? Dress nicely. Don't curse. Talk about yourself. Who can you practice talking about yourself with?
Your college counselor.
Your college counselor. Either parent is available. If you have a sibling, you are probably ready for any kind of interview. Right? Okay, so you're perfect. All right, so you are ready to answer questions. What kind of questions do you think I'm going to ask you during the interview?
My interests.
Interests. And you say, I have no interests. Is that a good answer? What subjects might you like to study in college? I don't know. Is that a good answer? No. So how do you get to those points?
Prepare ahead of time.
Prepare ahead of time. So you say, I don't know what I'm going to major in. Do I have to pick a major before I come to this college? Here are subjects I've really enjoyed that I'd like to pursue. Does that sound all very snappy and upbeat? Beautiful. I'm going to ask you about your extracurricular activities. What's the wrong answer there?
I do everything, or I don't.
Excellent. I do everything or I do nothing. Those are both wrong answers. I think that's awesome. All right, so I'm going to ask you about school. I'm going to ask you if you like Avon Old Farm School, what you would change about Avon Old Farm School, what you think about the dress code. I'm going to ask you how much time you spend studying. I'm going to ask you what classes you're taking. I'm going to ask you about your grades in a general way. Not did you get this 81, 88, no, in a general way. And then I'm going to ask you the Miss America questions. You're lucky because you usually would have to answer this one, but you don't have to, someone else does. What do you think is one of your better qualities? What would you like to improve in? What has been your proudest moment in your high school years? And the last question is, do you like to read?
Of course.
He has improved. Do you like to read? I do. Now, here is a critical moment. When the interviewer says to you, what book have you read? Pick a book you have actually read. That's key to your success. So what book have you enjoyed?
Huckleberry Finn.
Huckleberry Finn. Can we talk about Huckleberry Finn? Yes. Beautiful. And we'll have a little conversation about Huckleberry Finn. But if you had never read it and you mentioned Huckleberry Finn and I asked you some questions,
Kind of challenging.
it would have been challenging for you. So keep that in mind. And also another one that doesn't work is I saw the movie. That's not good. After your interview, what are you going to do?
Shake your hand and thank you for your time.
Right. Everybody says for my time. I am paid to do that, which is nice. But anyway, afterwards you thank the interviewer and then you go home and what?
Like write down your thoughts on my college.
That's a great idea. But you're going to write to me too, right? What are you going to do? Write to me.
Just a follow-up letter, say thank you, and I really enjoyed my time there.
Here is where parents and students go like this. Mom says, write a nice note, Boston Fine Arts Museum card. You say, send an email. Which one's better? He says handwritten note, but interestingly, that cannot go in our computer system. So sometimes the email is just fine. How should you write this email? How should you make reference to our interview?
Maybe put in something that you enjoyed about the interview.
Love it. Something specific. Favorite of all time letter to me. Dear Mrs. Brown, thank you for the wonderful interview. It is true, you know nothing about sports. Because he started to tell me, and I said, I just have to tell you, I want to hear this, but I really don't understand it. And he really found out that I did not. And I love that letter. Anything that really makes reference to what you've talked about during the interview, or maybe adds to something about yourself, is a wonderful way to communicate. Handwritten or email, either is good. Good? And you already know from Mr. Carter to take advantage of all opportunities to interview. You wait for just a minute. First we start with, what's that, flag of state? Read your board for us.
Spelling and grammatical errors.
Now, does anyone here at Avon Old Farm School ever make spelling or grammatical errors?
Yeah, I'm sure they
They
do.
do, but not you.
No, I make my fair share.
Oh, good, okay. So where do you fit in the application spelling and grammatical errors?
I go all the way over here.
Oh my gosh, you're very kingly. Go between these two for me. How do you check your spelling and grammar for the common application form?
Well, you can spell check.
You could, please full stop,
Okay.
spell check. However, there is no spell check inside the common application. Therefore,
You can copy and paste it on Word document.
you can copy and paste it from a Word document. Perfect. Right? Even I can do that.
Yeah.
So you're checking your spelling and your grammatical errors. What's another way you can check it?
You can have somebody proofread it for you.
Or you can proofread it to start. What do you think about that?
That's a great idea.
He many, many years. She proofread her daughter's application. She proofread the essay one last time. She said to her daughter, I'm not going to touch it, but I will look at it. And somehow, this experienced admissions professional erased the essay. So be careful. There's a story from a school in Pennsylvania, I don't know which one because they've all adopted the story, that there was an essay. The essay was about an experience that the student had with his grandfather, and the student spent a lot of time with his grandfather, and their special thing to do together was to go peasant hunting. Is it good to be a peasant hunter? Ooh! Did you hear his answer? No. If you're Dick Cheney. What happened with that essay?
I have no idea.
Spell check happened to that essay, and what was it supposed to be? Pheasant hunting. Is there a big difference between peasant hunting and pheasant hunting? Giant. And I think Dick Cheney knows quite a bit about that, actually. So here we are, this spelling and the grammatical errors. It's important to both spell check, copy paste, and proofread for those reasons. So I'm sorry to tell you this. We actually do not want you here in this application, do we?
No.
Out. Oh, don't cry. All right. My play. Here we are, ready to read your board?
Special talents.
Special talents. Your first talent is you're the best trombone player at Avon Old Farm School. Where do you fit in the application? Best trombone at the end. No, step it up. The interview's got to be last. I love it. Best trombone player at Avon Old Farm School. What a beautiful extracurricular activity. The exception would be if you're going to try out at Juilliard, wouldn't it? But then we're not talking about Union College. We're talking about Juilliard. We're talking about you being selected based on your trombone ability. All right, you are the best basketball player at Avon Old Farm School. Where do you fit in the application? My gosh, I love this. No, come on, you're all aspirational. Move up a little bit. Okay, why don't you move up out in front of that? Sit easy there. You're the best basketball player at Avon Old Farm. Say you're the best basketball player in the state of Connecticut. Where do you go? Don't say UConn. Yeah, I like you there. Because why? The NCAA likes you there. The NCAA is interested in this and this, right? They're going to hold on to that. Both of your parents went to Union College. Where do you fit in the application? Both parents are graduates of Union College. Are you your parents? You're your own wonderful self, right? But we are going to put you in another special love committee, the legacy committee. We're going to take a good look. And if you've got it going on here, we're going to love you in. You're part of the Union family. Your grandmother just gave $100 million